Now, before we dive into this truly chilling account, if you're brave enough to stick around, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to be notified of more stories that will make you question what's lurking in the shadows, and drop a comment below. Let me know the creepiest place you've ever dared to explore. Trust me, after this, you'll have a new contender. This isn't just some campfire tale, folks. This is about Lucas, a guy just like you, living in the heart of Dallas. And it's about Blackwood High. You know the type of school, right? Old brick ivy creeping up the walls, a certain weight to the air. Blackwood High had been around since the 50s, and with decades comes history. Not all of it good. There were always rumors, whispers about the old drama club, a student who vanished, janitors who quit without a word. Most of it you just brushed off as typical high school urban legends, until Lucas found himself caught in one dot. It started with a dare, as these things often do. You've been there, haven't you? Friends egging each other on, pushing boundaries. Lucas and his buddies, Liam and Chloe, were supposed to meet up for a late-night gaming session. But Liam, being Liam, had an even better idea. The old auditorium. Liam said, a grin playing on his lips, the kind that promised trouble. They say it's where Amelia disappeared. The drama student from 72. Her ghost still puts on shows there after dark. Chloe rolled her eyes, but you could see the flicker of unease. Lucas, though, he was intrigued. He'd always scoffed at ghost stories, but the auditorium did have a weird vibe. It was in the oldest part of the school, rarely used, kept locked. A relic. Liam dared Lucas to sneak into Blackwood High, go to the auditorium, and retrieve Amelia's missing prop, a specific, old, tarnished brass mask that was supposedly still stored there in a forgotten costume trunk. A picture of it, blurry and sepia-toned, was shoved into his hand. Proof, Liam insisted. If Lucas brought it back, he'd get a pass on all their chores for a month. If he didn't, well, he'd be the laughingstock. So, one moonless Friday night. You can picture him, right? Lucas, hoodie pulled low, heart thumping a frantic rhythm against his ribs, scaling the old fence behind Blackwood High. It wasn't hard to get in. A maintenance gate was notoriously left ajar, just enough for a determined teenager to slip through. The school grounds were swallowed by shadows. The streetlights from Mockingbird Lane barely pierced the dense oak trees surrounding the campus. Every rustle of leaves sounded like footsteps, every distant car horn like a scream. He found the side door to the B wing, the one that led directly to the auditorium stage entrance. It was old, wooden, and surprisingly unlocked, or maybe someone had done him a favor. He pushed it open, and a gust of stale, dust-laden air assaulted him. The scent of old wood, something metallic, and a faint, cloying sweetness like dried flowers. The hallway was a tunnel of absolute black. Lucas fumbled for his phone, its flashlight beam a weak, shimmering arrow in the oppressive darkness. Cobwebs clung to the walls like spectral lace. Empty lockers, their doors slightly ajar, looked like gaping mouths. Now, pause for a second. Imagine you're Lucas. You're alone in a pitch-black, deserted high school after midnight. Every creak, every groan of the old building structure, every drop of water from a leaky pipe sounds amplified, distorted. What's the first thing you'd feel? A thrill, or pure, unadulterated dread? Lucas felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. He pulled his hoodie tighter, trying to project an air of bravado he didn't feel. He navigated the labyrinthine hallways, following the faint glow of an emergency exit sign that marked the general direction of the auditorium. Suddenly, a sound, not a creak, not a groan. It was distinct, a thump, like something heavy had just fallen in a classroom nearby. Lucas froze. He held his breath, straining his ears against the deafening silence. Nothing, just his own hammering heart. He took a step, then another, thump, closer this time. He spun around, shining his light into the classroom entrances he'd just passed. Nothing, empty desks, silent chairs. He almost convinced himself it was just the building settling. Almost, he reached the heavy double doors of the auditorium. They were slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness even darker than the hallway beyond. Then, he pushed one open, and the door let out a long, drawn-out groan that echoed through the vast space. The auditorium was immense, swallowing the light from his phone. Rows of velvet seats stretched out before him, shadowy sentinels in the gloom. The stage, a raised platform of aged wood, looked like a gaping maw. It was cold in here, bone-chillingly cold. Lucas took a tentative step onto the stage. The old floorboards groaned beneath his weight. His beam danced across the heavy velvet curtains, the dusty stage props piled in the wings. He needed to find that mask. Liam's picture showed it near a large, painted backdrop of a forest. As he moved, a faint, high-pitched whimper seemed to drift from the rows of seats. It was almost imperceptible, like a soft, frustrated sigh. Lucas stopped dead. "Hello," he whispered, his voice thin and reedy in the massive space. The whimper came again, louder this time, followed by a faint, rhythmic tapping, tap, 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 tap. It sounded like fingernails tapping on wood. From the middle of the auditorium, Lucas's blood ran cold. He pointed his flashlight into the seats. Rows and rows of empty chairs. He swung the beam slowly, his hand trembling. Nothing. Then, he saw it in the center aisle, about halfway back, a single seat. It was rocking gently, back and forth, just a little, as if someone had just stood up from it, and on the seat, glinting faintly in his phone's weak light, lay a single, desiccated rose. Its petals were fragile, almost powder, and beneath it, a tiny, almost invisible stain. Dark red. He felt a sudden, intense drop in temperature. His breath plumed in the air. The tapping started again, more insistent this time, and from the stage wings, from behind the heavy velvet curtains, came a sound that made Lucas's soul shrivel. A high, reedy giggle. The kind a child makes when playing hide-and-seek, but distorted, wrong. He stumbled backwards, tripping over a loose cable. The giggle grew louder, more frantic, echoing through the empty theater. And then, from the blackness behind the curtains, he saw it, a shape. Indistinct at first, then clearer as it seemed to lean out. It was too tall, too thin, a silhouette of a girl, long, stringy hair flowing down her back. But her head was tilted at an impossible angle, and as she moved into a sliver of light from a distant exit sign, he saw her eyes. Two black, bottomless pits in a face that was somehow both young and impossibly ancient. And she was holding something. Something small and brass. The mask. She extended an arm, impossibly long, skeletal fingers, reaching for him. The giggle became a wheezing gasp, a sound of agony and glee intertwined. Lucas didn't think. He didn't hesitate. He turned and ran. He scrambled down the steps from the stage, tripping, regaining his footing, his vision tunneled by terror. The tapping, the giggle, they followed him. He could hear them behind him, a frantic, scrambling sound, like something being dragged across the floor. He burst through the auditorium doors, slamming them shut behind him. The sound of the giggle was muffled, but still present, seeping through. The old wood, he didn't stop to look back. He ran, blindly, through the darkened hallways, through the B-wing, past classrooms that now seemed to whisper his name. He didn't care about the mask, didn't care about Liam or the dare. All he cared about was getting out of Blackwood High. He finally burst through the maintenance gate, panting, lungs burning, heart threatening to explode from his chest. He didn't stop running until he was miles away, safe in his own bed, the first rays of dawn peeking through his window. He never told Liam or Chloe the full, terrifying truth. He just mumbled something about getting spooked. He never went back to Blackwood High after hours, and he never dared to look up the story of Amelia, the drama student from 1972, or what prop she was rumored to have been obsessed with, because sometimes you don't want to know the whole story. Sometimes the mystery is less terrifying than the explanation. And sometimes a high school isn't just a building. It's a stage, and the show, it never truly ends. So next time you walk past an old school building at night, especially in a city like Dallas, take a moment, listen closely. Can you hear the echoes, the tapping, the faint, reedy giggle of a performance that's still going on long after the final curtain call? Because Lucas knows, and now so do you.